Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing alright out there. I have something hysterically funny to talk about, and yes, indeed it is fake CBT certificates. The reason why this is hysterically funny is because by doing what these people are doing, they're actually making their scenario a lot worse, and it made no sense in the first place. So let me explain this, because it's really good. And I'm also expecting to get a little bit of backlash on this video, because previously when I've made videos talking about, like big bore kits on a CBT, an extra 25cc, an extra maybe brake horsepower for completely not riding with a license or insurance or anything like that, actually technically tax because it's a different bracket. And I've experienced backlash for that, suggesting that's not a good idea. I've also experienced some backlash for suggesting that riding a full powered bike on an A2 is a silly thing to do because it completely invalidates your insurance. And what was the point of getting your A2 in the first place, because you're going to lose it if they catch you. It kind of ends your career for very little. Ends your career on a bike, that is, Well, the CBT one is even better. So first things first, what is a CBT? CBT, compulsory basic training, is a one-day training course that you do normally at the age of 16 or 17, where you can ride a 50cc or 125 scooter or motorbike, depending on your age at the time. You have to have L plates for that. It is a one-day course and it costs about £150-ish, we're going to say as an average, to do. It lasts for 2 years and you have to do it again every 2 years. So what's happening here is people are buying fake CBT certificates off of TikTok. People are producing fakes. Now the thing about this is that makes this incredibly dumb for the first point is, what do you actually ever do with your CBT certificate? Well, when you pass, it's put into your hand, you then put it into a folder at home and you never ever touch it ever again until maybe you need to work out when it runs out for you to take the next one. You never send it to anyone. It doesn't stand for anything. The police don't need it because they have a copy of it on file. When they fill out that form for you, there's a carbon paper there and they make a copy of it with the unique serial number of your form, and then that's entered into the National Police computer, and apparently, amazingly, the DVLA is actually 100% up to date with that being entered into the system. So they know if you have, by name, a CBT or not. The certificate is not going to save your butt. They're not going to trust it. They are going to check, and they will find that it's fake. So one, you don't ever produce the CBT certificate and you don't give it to an insurance company or anything like that, so you don't need it. So that's the first dumb thing. The second dumb thing is that by doing this, you have made this so much worse for yourself, it is unbelievable. If you don't have a CBT, if you just ride with no CBT whatsoever, you are driving outside the confines of your license because presumably you've got a provisional, but whatever, you're basically going to end up with 3 to 6 points on your provisional, or well, it is your provisional if you're on a CBT, and I think it's about £100 fine. And I do not suggest people do it because it means you're riding without insurance, and you might not care about that, but if you had an uninsured driver crash into your mum or someone, and then they were left out of pocket with it, maybe lost their job, injured and couldn't do anything, couldn't claim injuries or anything like that, well, you'd probably have a problem with that. So maybe don't be the person that's causing that problem for other people, potentially. If you ride without a CBT, or maybe you ride with a CBT that expired a couple of days ago, 3 points, 6 points, and £100 fine. That's what's going to happen to you. If you knowingly buy a false CBT certificate and produce that to the person knowingly that it's fake and it was in the police, and pretend that that is a real thing, and they catch you doing that, that's no longer 3 points and £100 fine. It's 3 points and £100 fine and up to 10 years in prison. I ain't joking. It's called fraud. It's the exact same thing as having a unrestricted motorcycle, riding on an A2 and telling your insurance company that it's restricted when you full well know it's not. That is insurance fraud. That takes you from points and stuff to criminality to 10 plus years in prison and up to like £50,000 fines and stuff like that. Maybe not in the CBT scenario, I'm not sure where it would sit there, but it's the same crime, so it's possible. It makes things so much worse for you if you are caught doing it. And the only time that you're ever going to have to produce the CBT certificate to prove that you have one, even though you don't, is when you are caught. And they're going to know this anyway because they're going to check on the national computer. So you literally are paying money, sometimes nearly as much as what a CBT would be, to then massively increase the risks of being caught and what the repercussions of that I mean, even the criminally minded who ride around with no license would probably agree, hey dude, that's a bad idea, you probably just want to go without, because then you're only, you know, it's, I mean, this is the thing, people have become so stupid that rather than just going and taking a CBT, they think, nah, I don't need to do that, I'll just go and get a fake one. Why bother? If you're going to ride with no license, no insurance or anything, because you might use that CBT certificate and think you can go to your insurance company and get insurance. Yes, you can get insurance. They won't check you have a CBT. But if you've told them you have a CBT, that's fraud. And then again, when you get caught, the insurance will be invalid because you don't have a valid CBT because it was a fraudulent forgery. And they're not even good because they need unique serial numbers which then correspond to something on the National Police computer, which it won't be there. Do you now understand why I think this is so funny? I honestly don't care. You know, years ago I used to think I really want to help people out who, you know, like the open-faced helmets thing. I don't care if you wear an open-faced helmet, more power to you. But I do get concerned when riders tell new riders, oh, it's absolutely fine to use an open face, because they're the ones that are going to crash. They could do without that full-faced helmet for a while just to cover the first few years as they may come off, and you don't want them to take unnecessary injuries. If you later in life feel confident you're riding to ride with an open face, okay, that's fine. I used to be a little less understanding of that in the past, but it's not that I think it's okay, it's just I care less. It's like, if you want to be stupid and do something stupid and get hurt, the only person who's hurting is you when it comes to open-faced helmets, so fill your boots or grind your face. But in this scenario, it is a problem because it means you're uninsured. And again, I don't mean that for your own benefit or the legal requirement, I just mean for not screwing another person over. As I say, the stupidity of the world never ceases to amaze me, and I'm sorry to say this to the youth, you need to be more willing to learn for yourselves and not just have the answer handed to you. I can tell you honestly, hand on heart, as the years have gone on, the questions I get around motorcycling has changed when people want to get into it. It's gone from being relatively, you know, mildly informed and wanting to know the whole details, the ins and the outs, so they can fully understand what they're doing, to give me the answer. And as I've said before, if you think you're going to get a full motorcycle license without doing any training, without doing any of the theory stuff or anything like that, just by getting given the answer, you won't get a license very easily. Because you're not being tested on how well you can ride a bike like this, like physically riding it, you're being tested on how you do that on the road. And as I say, the riding of the bike is the least of their concerns. That bit you're supposed to have got out of the way and done by the time you've had your CBT for a couple of years. If you have a fake CBT, I believe, in my understanding, and this is not legal advice, and this is purely my opinion as to what I think, I don't suggest you necessarily do this, but if you had a fake CBT, to my understanding, it would be better if you just binned it and got caught without one. Unless you want to go to prison, potentially. Of course, the likelihood of them sending someone to prison for this is low, but the point is, it's criminal. It becomes a criminal record. It's on your record forever. When you try and get a job and then they find you have a criminal record, if you want to work with kids or something like that and you've got a criminal record, etc., etc., it is a big problem. So maybe don't, you know, do it. Just pay 150 quid and do a CBT. For the love of God, how crap at riding a bike are you that you can't do that? And also, if you can't afford the CBT, you're probably not going to pay for the insurance because that's like 10 times more expensive. So I literally don't understand the point of getting the fake CBT. The only thing that makes sense to it is, oh, I can afford everything, but I'm not good enough to pass the test, but that's okay because, you know, that's just the test. I'll be all right on the road on my own. You idiots! If you have any thoughts on this, whack them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you want to help support this channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. Honestly, this is the funniest thing I've heard for a while, and it's purely going to affect the people that do it to themselves and no one else. It's great. I love seeing a little bit of stupidity karma. Oh, till the next one. Bye-bye.